welcome back to the fifth and final round of Swiss for this, the final event in our TNE series before the Invitational. And speaking of the Invitational, we have a very exciting match going on, which is going to be Stormguard versus Jez. And Stormguard in a very interesting position, actually. So for the Invitational, as you probably know, there are 16 players that are going to be invited, 9 of which are decided from the regular season. It was 10 before Gozu won 2 events. And the top 7 from the leaderboard are going to be taken to fill out that 16 points. Stormguard, as you can see, 17 points as it stands. There's 1 point per match win in the course of the series. Over the course of the series, I'm sorry. Stormguard right on the bubble right now, but if Stormguard were to top 8 this event, Stormguard very likely locked to make it into the Ed Invitational on the wildcard slot. Jez, the opponent for this round, has 4 events coming into this. The top 5 best finishes are what gets taken for the wildcard leaderboard points. So if you have 6 events and you went 0-2 and 1, then they're just going to take the other 5 results. Jez, however, only has 4 events coming into this, so everything that Jez does today is just going to add on top of the leaderboard points and is almost assuredly locked. Probably not even almost assuredly. But Stormguard really needs this top 8. Stormguard were to top 8 this, it would replace the lowest result and probably rocket ship them up into a qualification. So Stormguard's life is on the line right here as far as qualifying for the Invitational goes. And looks like we're going to get into that match right now.
And okay, thank you for all of that. Honestly, Stormguard's looking at a pretty decent hand. Turn 2 lost scroll into a potential turn 3 lost scroll into a Slay. Pretty solid all around, I think. Good power development, but no, Stormguard is going to throw that back. Looking at a turn 3 Styre's Eyes, I think that's looking to give hearts in the mouth if you throw that back. Okay, Jez takes a mulligan. And okay. Hand is pretty solid, all things considered, but the depleted power is definitely not pleasant. Luckily for Jez, he's on the play, so
Yeah,
away we go.
Well, I think if that was the second 7, I think it would be a bit greedy. But I think on first 7, mulliganing a bit aggressively for Styre's Eyes, especially when you know you are on the Reanimator matchup, is not entirely incorrect in my opinion, at least, because the Styre's Eyes really the critical card in the matchup. Because if it just comes down to a mid-range battle, you're probably gonna win every time because your top end is gonna out top end them if they have to play it fairly.
Right.
And speaking of the Styre's Eyes, has the option to play it right now, and I don't see a particular reason not to. Yeah.
Go. Turn 2, Styre's Eyes, Adjudicator's Gavel.
Yeah. No shenanigans here. At least for the moment. Obviously, things like End an Era, Send an Agent in the market, both able to deal with that Adjudicator's Gavel, but that requires, well, a market card first.
With that, Shadow Etchings. So we'll see which route Jez decides to go with. Jez on the play critically means that End of an Era can come out before this black book can potentially steal it. Well, not steal it, but discard it. Okay, so here's a Shadow Etchings. Are we going for the immediate Send an Agent or the End of an Era?
Given the Rat King on his own board, I'd imagine Send an Agent.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
The only argument otherwise, I would think, is if you think Stormguard is going to commit more to the board, an End of an Era getting a Dizo's office is not terrible in these controlling matchups. But without the power to play it, it's also kind of just going to be sitting there rotting.
Correct.
Opting not to fire off the Sentiment Agent immediately. Fast spell for a reason. As the board, pretty middling at the moment, is gonna fire off that Sentiment Agent for the turn. Get rid of the Adjudicator's Dabble. And 6 power is also good, given that Caravan.
So yeah, Jez ahead on the race. Now the question being, what to do with the power for the turn? Turn 5 kind of a little bit awkward. Do we? Okay, we are going to.
Yeah. Just looking at Treasure Trove right now, likely saving the Vikram for a potential Black Book or Tavrod.
Mm-hmm. Speaking
As
of,
the Sleigh coming down.
yeah,
is
slaying
fair-
3-2. I'm not sure how
Yes.
I feel about that.
Slaying the 3-2, especially knowing that your opponent is playing Vikram, obviously doesn't know that it's in the hand for Jez, but knows it's in the deck list and it's a possibility. And also that we're getting up to turn 6, Carvets could start coming down, Katra could be a big problem.
Vikram steal the black book, and because there's endurance, that Vikram's exhaustion clause doesn't apply, and Jez now the one getting the Warcry 2s.
Yep. Lost Scroll gonna be doing a little bit of work if not an if actually, because Argentport Blueprints also able to be cast this turn, guarantee that sigil. So that's going to be undepleted power for next turn, and Stormholt Plating is going to be pretty impactful. Going to be able to get his own Black Book back by killing the Vikram. Going to be able to bash into the Caravet if that were to come down, and also critically going to have the Stormholt Plating survive both of those hits.
Yeah, I mean, and once that black book, once that Vikram goes down, then Stormguard gets his black book back.
Yep. And if the Stormholt Plating survives these attacks, and with a 1/1 Styre's Eyes and a 1/7 Black Book, Stormguard's going to have blockers to keep the Stormholt Plating around, and with the double Magniventress coming down the turn after to pump the Stormholt Plating back up to 8 armor. Things are looking very interesting. There is a Warcry 4 somewhere on top of Jez's deck, and does have enough power to play any unit left in their deck, so this could potentially be very scary if they find it.
Yeah. Yeah, Jez went off to a pretty good start, but then the Stormholt Plating just went and did Stormholt Plating things. Katra coming down can potentially come down, but seems there might not be any power in the void. Otherwise, we would have seen her come down.
Yeah, debating what to do here. I still think probably getting the 9/7 out right now that Stonewalls the Black Book can't be Stormholt Plating down.
Yep.
Still probably correct. However, the Magniventress does potentially throw a wrench into that plan.
This is true, but Jez doesn't know about them, I think.
Correct. Does not know they're in the hand, but obviously a consideration to be made, given that Magniventress is in the deck at least.
So there was
power
power
in the
in
board.
there. Oh, hello, Var on top. Yeah, this is about to escalate pretty quickly.
Gonna escalate very quickly, but the double Magniventress and the Tavrod off the top as well makes for some very interesting dynamics right here, because Var is going to be able to come down, going to get the Rat King, going to get 3 more Shadow units. But I don't remember seeing. I know Vikram is there. Vikram can take Tavrod, which is big. Yeah, this might. One way or another, this is going to end quick. Yeah, going to be able
that's
to.
going to get a Carvet.
Gonna get a Carvet, gonna get the Vikram. Vikram probably gonna take the Tavrod.
Mm-hmm.
And that Cultist coming in as well. Going to get back another Cultist just for good measure.
Yep. And of
And
course, a reanimator deck milling itself.
yeah, and
And there's a concession.
Stormguard scoops it up. Just sees the incredible board. Just unable to deal with it at that point. And yeah,
Yeah.
that's the
Vara doing Vara things.
Para doing Vara thing. And it was a very powerful turn for Stormguard too. Like, he definitely had the tools there that he needed. He almost turned that corner very efficiently, but I guess did
Yeah.
not engage the turbo drifting and turned the corner a
Yeah.
bit too hard and crashed into the wall.
Yep. Yeah, that was a case of you're the mid-range deck, you're against the combo deck, you didn't kill him. And then the combo deck did the combo deck things.
Oh yeah. As soon as the Vara was on top from the crest, that was all that needed to happen.
Yeah.
At that point, nothing remains. If a Carrington merchant came off the top, could have done something, but that would have left Stormguard hellbent, and that would have left Jez as well, still with the 9/7 Katra in hand. Because Stormguard very easily could have figured out, I have not seen anything with Warcry 4 in the Void or in play. I know that they have that in hand, even if I was to Nothing Remains. They have some huge thing coming down. As looks like an unplayable hand from Jez right here. Giving the Urgent Port deck time to disrupt you. Yeah, just
very little self discard. Market access is there, but no units.
Yep.
No ramp. Yeah, this one's a stinker.
Stormguard, though, with a very interesting decision to make, has exploit, can plunder. I think this is a keep, especially with the double Lunar Claw for disruption.
Yeah, this hand is definitely what you call the reasonable keep. Turn 2 exploit plunder, turn 3 Lunar Claw or merchant. Turn 4 Magnaventress, probably don't know what else you want.
Yeah, my only concern would be a little bit power light. However, especially with that Argenport blueprints and the exploit plunder, definitely gonna not have any issues right now. Can cast everything in the hand, especially after that draw as well. Not even required to plunder anything away now.
Yeah. So this exploit, well, you see the Vikram, and you have 2 Lunar Claws, meaning you don't need to go after the Vikram so aggressively.
Yep.
So yeah, Merchant's a solid pick here.
Yeah, just cut off market access. If you have an Adjudicator's Gavel later on, now they're less likely to have the answer to that. As the Fear pickup, likely just going to see that inscribed as well.
Jez already has 5 power in hand. Probably going to draw a 6th before he needs to play Carve It. But okay, we're going to inscribe the Fear.
And really just wanting to make sure that you have that 6 power for Carve It, because that's really all you're playing toward right now. Because if you don't get to 6 for Carve It right now, and you don't get something else to do, like a Katra, then your hand's looking a bit weak.
Yeah, that's true.
Plus, as the Reanimator deck, milling cards off the Incidental Inscribe, never a bad thing.
Okay. Stormguard deep in the tank. Off the marketing.
Very much thinking X.
Eavesdrop.
Eavesdrop, sorry, yeah. Eavesdrop, very good in these situations.
The void.
Yep. Not only do you get to 2-for-1 your opponent in a matchup where the cards can matter, but the stealing the void, very relevant. Not sure if you knew, but Reanimator tends to like to play with its void. waiting on the eavesdrop, not pressing at the moment, no way to get Vara in play, and more so waiting for more cards to be played from Jez to try to have a better likelihood of hitting relevant cards with the eavesdrop, discard.
Okay, so the Vikram Rat King combo. Steal your opponent's unit and then sacrifice it.
Yeah.
Who needs to smash with it? Just yoink, and then just get it off the board before your opponent can actually get it back.
Had an option. Could have eavesdropped, chose to remove the Rat King off the board. Still no Vara, still no ramp. So just holding off on that eavesdrop as long as possible.
Yeah.
Is that's fairly interesting. Playing around a Nothing Remains that was gotten out of the market, I would assume, not just playing Xenon Tome and slamming the card.
Right.
Wanting to commit more to the board to bait out a Nothing Remains if that were to be what Stormguard got before committing your big unit that is actually going to end up trying to close the game out.
Okay, Merchant coming out, getting that Nothing Remains, as you said.
Yeah, as you have options as Stormguard. You have 3 very powerful cards in your hand, but only enough power to play one of them each turn. And Jez has a fair bit to do right now. Depending on how things go, that last chance could be looking pretty bad if they don't use it this turn and Stormguard gets the chance to eavesdrop, but might feel pressured to drop the Nothing Remains first.
Yeah, okay. So, Katra the pickup, how much power is in that void?
I believe a fair amount. I want to say 2 at least that I can remember seeing.
Seems like a solid reason to slam Katra, just get that 2 power, make your opponent have whatever.
Yeah, still
Just
likely.
instead slow rolling it.
Yeah, I think I agree more with this play because at this point you were playing around the Nothing Remains at first because you know they marketed for something. The second time they market for something, they're very likely to have the Nothing Remains, even if they
True.
didn't pick it up the first time. Because especially given what we've seen from Stormguard's market, because if Nullblade was the pickup, you probably would have seen it played earlier.
Okay, there's the Tavrod. I think this merits the Katra. Could be wrong.
Yeah, I think Katra is very strong here because you get to ramp, and also if they have the Nothing Remains, Katra incentivizes them to use it now that they played their own Davrod and would be setting themselves behind.
Right.
Yeah, very much playing into the Nothing Remains, just making an attack, saying you have it, you're going to use it, you have to use it. I'm getting the damage where I can.
But in the meantime, this Tavrod might hit some very nasty threats.
Yep, choosing to eavesdrop now. I like this because with Katra in play, now you have the threat of Vara because you're at 9 power. So you need to do something this turn to prevent that because Nothing Remains isn't going to help if they have the worst case scenario. And you have enough life that this is not lethal. And you even have a Tavro to chump in if something terrible happens.
Yeah. Okay, but Jez picks up the Shadow Etchings. What is in that market to...
Yeah, the Send-in Agent, not going to be useful here. Could pick up
Wow.
Version of
Okay.
Nature, though. The card that matters a lot right now.
Death.
Is kind of take the series Jez is with that subversion of nature.
Wow.
That is the second subversion of nature lethal we've had on camera today. And
My goodness.
just wow. I still think eavesdrop was the correct play, not given the composition of their hand, because they're doing something, and that something is likely going to be Vara. That something is likely going to be the reanimator thing.
Right.
And the especially with getting two things off the top, or not off the top, two cards out of their hand with the eavesdrop, you either had to do that or Adjudicator's Gavel with the Styre's Eyes to just not absolutely die.
Yeah.
And it just ended up playing out poorly with the Shadow Etchings. As we
Yep.
go into our backup match.
So, Zine midrange. This time, no reanimator shenanigans. Against Chips's 4F Todas. Question being, how many relics Chips has in play? We just saw that Waystone Igniter eat the Shrine of Carver.
Yep, and looks to be Apple Chips up one game, as there are no relics in play for Apple Chips except for the Pitfall Trap that was just played.
Interesting.
3 power in hand, gonna mark it with Crack the Earth. This looks very rough for Chips.
Oh, so Elvish Swindler of the play, gonna grab a relic with cost 2 or less. How I wish that was 3 cost or less.
Kind of get that rat cage, and
Yep.
just trying desperately to rebuild right now as we churn through the deck a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, Beowulf with 5 in hand and the even more stuff to do with that Through the Unknown, going to be able to get something back potentially. Vinegrafter going to be able to dig into the market. And Dito's Office, even an option. Shadow Etchings for a sigil. Play it, do the rest of your turn, and then you get to go to your next turn and play Dito's Office. There's just an embarrassment of riches.
Yeah. 3-0 Wolf just has all the options here. Question being, if any, which one is the best? So, Shadow Etchings exhausts Vinegrafter. Oof. That's an. I guess. Now it's not the worst to
It,
exhaust the Vinegrafter now, because there are no real good blocks with it.
yeah, you get the Xenon Temple for later. Uh, you get the Xenon Temple for later. You get the Twisted Farmer that you still have up for right now. If Apple Chips chooses to attack in, you have a potential Through the Unknown even to just fire off on end step. And you, like I said, you guarantee the Shadow Sigil to play the Dizo's Office next turn. Especially given a board of just a bunch of random 1/1s. Being able to cut ties, the only thing that matters here, could
Right.
potentially be relevant.
Mm-hmm. So Apple Chips just decides to pass, and out comes the Twisted Farmer, making something, I guess, for sacrifice effects, or just, yeah, in comes the Dizo's Office, sending the clowns.
Yep, just gain 3 life here, do 3 damage. Give yourself a bit of a buffer. Make sure, absolutely positive, I will not die to Shrine of Caravet shenanigans.
Yeah.
As Speak of the Devil, Kindling Carver, and Shrine of Caravet, the classic combination. It's like Dinosaur Nest and Exploit.
Yeah.
As that Diesel's Office is going to die right now.
It's
Question.
it's 3 attackers getting through with at least 3 health. That's more than the 4 durability of these office.
Yeah, gonna take off one of them with the regen from the grafter. Uh, but Beowulf still in a good spot though. Kindling Carver not gonna last through this turn with the Zenith initiation off the temple.
And that's a lot of milling from that Tome of Horrors Chip says.
Yep, 32 cards in the void, just a little under half the deck.
Okay. In comes Zen Temple.
Yep,
Gonna give
Zenith.
Grafter regen, which is going to take out the Kindling Carver.
Yep, gonna
And
make sure
then
there's no
what?
sack outlet on the board. And no cards in hand for Apple Chips means that exploit probably not going to get played for a good long while, if ever.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay, through the unknown. What are we?
Main phase through the unknown for the Waystone Igniter. That's very powerful.
Yeah. Are we going after the shrine? Or are we going after the?
Yeah,
Of course, we're going after the shrine. Why did I even bother to ask?
yep, going after the shrine just to make sure no more shenanigans could happen. I could see an argument for Tome of Horrors, given that there is 8 power available on Apple Chip's side, and also you're not close to milling, but it is definitely a threat the longer the game goes.
Definitely. Okay, so full out attack at the Zen Temple.
Yep, gonna clear it. Those rats will get through. As just as a minute ago, I said Beowulf has an embarrassment of riches. Apple Chips looking good with the amount of stuff on board and in hand. Second Dinosaur Nest even now, and a Torgov's Wares for next turn with, as I mentioned, the 8 power for the potential double Tomovar's activation if things
Mhm.
stabilize a bit more.
Okay.
Yeah,
Waystone Igniter puts an end to that Tome of Horrors.
yeah, very nice pickup. We we are really seeing the power of the Tota deck right now in a pilot like Apple Chips' hands, honestly, where you can go
Yeah.
to for a board state where you have 2 cards in hand, no board, and no relics in play, and suddenly you have a massive board, you have double dinosaur nest, you have cards in hand to work with, and you are
Yep.
really about to start dictating the pace of the game.
Yep. Absolutely. All these things are true. And in the meantime, Three-O Wolf is just kind of looking in a bad way. One exploit and one Twisted Farmer against this entire board. I mean, the Twisted Farmer can well, not twist, but amplify to put a bunch of little seeds into play. We'll have to see how this develops.
Yeah, Twisted Farmer versus this board with Outer Shrine of Caravan in play is definitely still good. It can really help to equalize here because this. I was talking about how Apple Chips is really demonstrating the power of this deck, but it's in no way over. Both
Definitely not.
sides, both sides have a lot of play right now.
Okay. Chips' board of junk continues to grow. In the meantime, it seems as though a dinosaur nest has flipped somewhere.
Yep, 2 dinosaur nests were in play for Apple Chips, so the first one flips, starts facing down some 3/3s. Has Dinosaur Nest from Beowulf about to start also doing work.
Hmm.
Scene and Banner not going to do much more than let Amplify, give one more Amplify for the Twisted Farmer turn.
Yep. To the market with the Vine Grafter.
Uh,
I think.
Yes, he went into the market with Vine Grafter for a Vine Grafter that he had marketed away previously.
I see. But yeah, now slowly and then quickly is Jez building is not Jez, Apple Chips building a board of 3/3 dinos.
Yep, slowly but surely improving the position. Calibrate off the top even better. Assembling the combo pieces here. Shrine of Caravet, uh, still not in play at the moment. The previous one was blown up by a Waystone Igniter, and even if it was set into play, Sack Outlet is still missing, but time is definitely on Apple's side right now.
Yeah, it's just played Kindling Carver, so Sack Outlet is online.
Oh, never mind. My
In
mistake.
the meantime, okay. Uh, Totemite Munitions continuing to find sack engines.
Yep, and Total Light Munitions fairly decent in this spot actually, as he could just start sacking extraneous units to pick off the rather small units that are on Beowulf's board right now. Obviously,
Yeah.
Regen has got to block it a little bit, but sack a 3/3 to the Totemite Munitions and pick off this Vine Grafter 3/3 after it gets blocked or after the Regen gets popped from this block right now.
So we are continuing to see various pockets of combat on this board. Three Wolf just running short on gas here.
Yep. Opts to get rid of the Vine Grafter. Smart play when it has not yet marketed. As a second Twisted Farmer comes down.
Twisted Farmer from Beowulf, Beowulf comes in, chips for 2.
Another 0 power calibrate.
Wow.
And this is just disgusting at this point. That, I believe, is Rat Cage number 2. Not that Chips actually needed it at this spot with the double 5/5 flying dinosaur at this point. And the shrine off the top as well is just going to be lethal.
I mean, there is the. Oh, yeah, that's 14 in the air.
It's 14 in the air, and I don't believe that there's enough blockers to block everything on the ground. I do think one has to get through at least. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. One, yes. Yep, is going to be lethal. Not enough blockers to block everything on the ground.
I see. Yep.
As just barely Apple Chips is going to take the series in 2 games. And I can only imagine that the first one was just as grindy as that one. And I said it before, and I will likely say it again when we feature this top 8, which I believe Apple Chips is locked for. That just the absolute power of that deck in the hands of somebody like Apple Chips, who put so much work in to pilot that deck and to build that deck, is just ridiculous. It is incredibly skill testing, and I very much would not recommend you pick it up and play it on ladder.
No.
If you want to win your games in the short term, but if you have a couple hundred hours to put into trying to figure out that deck and make it work, it can definitely reward you for it.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Right. Okay. That's it for that round. So we are going to come back whenever we have everything for the top 8 sorted out and probably give you some more information about the Invitational happening this week. Stay tuned.